Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the whole flock of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Got to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. The Most High, the Heavenly Father, his Hebrew name is Yahweh. Not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah, not Abba, not Yahuwah. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shai. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ. Not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua, not Yahusha, not Jesus. It's Yahweh Shai. So you got to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishops and elders of great millstone who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether accepted or not. In a sincere salutation to all the Akim pushing this truth and believing this truth with the four winds of the earth, the entire world shed light to the hopeful elect. Shalom to the Akwath who are listening learning. If you sisters who are listening learning. Mazai from GMS Orlando, Camp Prophet of Doom, coming into another lesson in truth, facts, faith, and edification, another day of edification, Lord, would us be edifying. So I titled this lesson, The Truth of Understanding What Happened Between Malachi and Matthew. And I was thinking about this yesterday when I was listening to the El Manatazakba live stream, his camp lesson. And I was just thinking how these Nate, they are using the name Jesus Christos. But when you and it just hit me. So during the time of Malachi, from the time of Malachi to Matthew they call it the 400 years of silence. So when did the name of the Lord change? If it tell you, because it tell you in my 1465 Bible, it was called the 400 years of waiting on the Messiah to return. So if that's the case, if it was 400 years of waiting on the Messiah to return, then when did the name of the Lord change? Because in Malachi, now I pulled up 3 articles. I got one from Zondervan. This one here is from what is this? This one here is from www.gotquestions.org, right? Then I got the other one here. It's from Church of Jesus Christ.org of Latter-day Saints. Now I'm going to show you, I got the one from Zondervan too. Just to show you how these devils know what was going on, which they call these 400 years of silence. And I was just thinking about how the hell a person can still call on Jesus Christ when they tell you the 400 years of silence. They was waiting on the Messiah to return. So this going from the Old Testament, which was in the Hebrew. The New Testament wasn't written yet. So we're going from the Old Testament to the New Testament. And then these articles, they talk about how, well, I'm just going to read it. But we know how they translated the Hebrew scrolls to Greek. So that means that mean if they wait on the Messiah and they change it from Hebrew to Greek, and everything that was written translated to the Greek from the Hebrew. Anyway, someone was thinking about. So this is what these devils say. Oh, let me read this first. In Malachi. Now this is clearly talking about Yahweh Shai and Elijah. This is Malachi 3:1. Now this is Yahweh saying this. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. Salakia. Yeah, behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me, and the Lord whom ye seek shall suddenly come to his temple. even the messenger of the covenant, whom ye delight in, which is Yahushua. Now he said, behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me, Elijah. And the Lord whom ye seek, Yahushua, shall suddenly come to his temple, which is his people, even the messenger of the covenant, that's Yahushua, whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith Yahweh of hosts. So clearly right here, this is talking about Yahushua and John the Baptist. So let me pull this up. Now, this is the one from gotquestions.org. Listen to this. The 400 years of silence reference to the time between the Old Testament and the New Testament, during which, so far as we know, God did not speak. No scripture was written. That's a lie. The 400 years of silence began with the warning that closed the Old Testament. Behold, I am going to send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful, before the coming of the great and terrible day of the Lord. He will restore the hearts of the fathers to their children and the hearts of the children to their fathers, so that I will not come and smite the land with a curse. Right? It's and ended with the coming of John the Baptist, the Messiah's forerunner. Now let's say at the time of Malachi's warning, about 430 BC, the Jews had returned to Israel from Babylonian captivity as merchants, not shepherds. The Medo and Persian Empire still ruled Israel, and the temple had been rebuilt. Both the law and the priesthood of Aaron line had been restored, and the Jews had given up their worship of idols. Nevertheless, Malachi's warning was not without cause. The Jewish people were mistreating their wives, marrying pagans, and not tithing. And the priests were neglecting the temple and not teaching the people the ways of God. In short, the Jews were not honoring God. It reads, in 333 BC, Israel fell to the Greeks. And in 323 BC, it fell to the Egyptians. This Egyptian, they talking about the Edomites. Because it said in 333 BC, Israel fell to the Greeks. And in 323, it fell to the Egyptians. The Jews generally were treated well throughout those reigns, and they adopted the Greek language and many of the Greek customs and manners. And in Egypt, which was Alexandria, Alexander, it reads in Egypt, and in Egypt, the Old Testament was translated into Greek. That translation, the Septuagint, came into the widespread use. This is when they said Job is an Edomite, because of the translations from the Hebrew to the Greek Septuagint, and it is quoted frequently in the New Testament. Listen, this is when Alexander the Great, because it say in 333 BC, Israel fell to the Greeks, and in 323 BC, it fell to the Egyptians. Somebody Ptolemy took over Egypt, which is an Edomite. It's a Jewish law and priesthood remained more or less intact until Antiochus the Great of Syria captured Israel. And it ain't a coincidence why them Edomites are still in Syria right now. There's American military base in Syria right now, man. Antiochus the Great of Syria captured Israel in 204 BC. He and his successor, Antiochus Epiphanes, persecuted the Jews and sold the priesthood. And in 171 BC, Epiphanes desecrated the Holy of Holies. The desecration resulted in the uprising by Judas Maccabees of the priestly line of Aaron. And in 165 BC, the Jews recaptured Jerusalem. Recaptured Jerusalem and cleansed the temple. However, fighting continued between Jews and Assyrians until the Romans gained control of Israel in 63 BC, at which time Pompey walked into the Holy of Holies once again, shocking and embittering the Jews In 47 BC, Caesar installed Antipater, a descendant of Esau, as procurator of Judea, and Antipater subsequently appointed his two sons as kings over Galilee and Judea. As the New Testament opens, Antipater's son Herod the Great, a descendant of Esau, was king, and the priesthood was politically motivated and not of the line of Aaron. Politics also resulted in the development of major factions, the Sadducees and Pharisees. The Sadducees favored the liberal attitudes and practices of the Greeks. They held to only the Torah as regard religion. But like most aristocrats, they did not think God should have any part in governing the nation. Okay, so I just want to read that part. So that's one article about dealing with the in 333 BC, Israel fell to the Greeks. And in 323 BC, it fell to the Egyptians, which is totally took over Egypt. That's what they're talking about. So it said the Jews generally were treated well throughout those reigns, and they adopted the Greek language and many of the Greek customs and manners. And Egypt, in Egypt, the Old Testament translated into Greek, the translation, the Septuagint. Then it say Jewish law and priesthood remained more or less intact until Antiochus, the Great of Syria. So why would they mention this if they said it was 400 years of silence? Huh? This is the point I'm making. They said Jewish law and the priesthood remained more or less intact until Antiochus the Great of Syria captured Israel in 204 BC. He and his successor, Antiochus Epiphanes, persecuted the Jews and sold the priesthood. How the hell do they know about this? If it was 400 years of silence, how the hell they know about this? Because it's in the Apocrypha, man. Now, let me go to the other article. See how these devils be lying, man? And this is what I want to show. Let me get this. Let's get this one. I want to read these other two. Then I'm going to get the Zonovans. Because this is fire. And I was sitting thinking, like, how the hell niggas still calling on Jesus Christ when the 400 years of silence was them waiting on the Messiah to return, man? And there wasn't no J's. This is so this is the other one. This is from Christ, Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints, trash. So this is what they say. Hold on, make sure it's sharing. Okay. So this is what they say. I'm gonna get the Zonovan, because the Zonovan gonna break it straight completely down. It's the time between the Old and New Testament. Between Malachi and Matthew, 400 years passed in the Holy Land, for which we have no prophetic record. What? Much happened during this period that affects our understanding of the New Testament. This shit here sounds contradicting. So they said, we have no prophetic record. Much happened during this period that affects our understanding of the New Testament. So how does it affect your understanding of the New Testament if nothing, if we want no prophetic records? These devils do not want to mention that the Apocrypha is accurate and it should be here. Listen to this. Between Malachi and Matthew, Salaki, hold on. 400 years passed in the Holy Land, for which we have no prophetic record. Much happened during this period that affects our understanding of the New Testament. And we know this. This is why we are not fighting with Christians anymore, man. Trying to prove who the damn Gentiles is. We don't got to do that. This is for us, man. So it is important to be familiar with at least the major events that occurred in this intertestamental period. After the Babylonian captivity, Judea was ruled in turn by the Persians, the Greeks. They got the Egyptians. It wasn't the Egyptians. It was Ptolemy. He took over Egypt. So this again, it's after the Babylonian captivity, Judea was ruled in turn by the Persians, the Greeks, the Egyptians, which was Ptolemy, the Syrians, which was Seleucus, and the Romans. with a brief period of self-rule under who? Under the Hasmoneans. How do you know about the Hasmoneans if it wasn't no prophetic record? The Old Testament was translated into a Greek version called the Septuagint, which is the version most often quoted in the New Testament. See? So if the New Testament was translated, what was the original text? So there's a book. Hold on, bear with me. This book is called So this is a book. Let me show you this book. Come back to me for a second. Move this. There's a book here. This book here, in this book, it tell you that the New Testament was written in Hebrew, man. Paul's writings, Matthew's writings in the Hebrew. Anyway, let's go back to this. Peter and John didn't speak no damn Greek, man. They spoke Hebrew, man. So what they had to write in? What their letters was in, man? They ain't know no damn Greek, man. They ain't no Latin, man. Fucking people with damn devils, man. But it's cool. This is for us. That's why I tell you Malachi 3. Matter of fact, let me read it. I'm right here. Malachi 3 and 16, it reads, Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and Yahweh hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord and that thought upon his name. It said, Then they that feared the Lord speak often one to another. These epistles is for us, man. We don't need the so-called white man's validation about the Lord, about the Messiah, about who the Gentiles is. We don't need that, man. But anyway, let me drop this. Let's go back to this. So going back to this, it reads again, start from here. After the Babylonian captivity, Judea was ruled in turn by the Persians, the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Syrians. The Egyptians and the Syrians talking about Ptolemy and Seleucus. And the Romans, with a brief period of the rule under the Hasmoneans, when the Maccabees took back the temple. The Old Testament was translated into the Greek version called the Septuagint, which is the version most often quoted in the New Testament. Also, this period saw the rise of the Pharisees. Now, they said this period, but then up here they said, we have no prophetic record. What? Much happened during this period that affects our understanding of the New Testament. Why would they say that? If you don't understand the Apocrypha, you will not understand the New Testament, is what they saying. Also, this period saw the rise of the Pharisees and Sadducees and increase in the influence of the scribes. Prayerfully study the intertestamental period and consider the following principles before preparing your lessons. They talking about the 400 years of silence, man. So going back. Now, I just want to read that one. Now let's go to the Zonovans. These damn devils, man. So let's go to the Zonovans here. It's beautiful because they know, man. These devils know. And I was looking these up. Now I'm listening to Elder Manatazak yesterday. And then something just hit me, and I thought about what they call the 400 years of silence, which it wasn't no silence, man. In my 1465 Bible, it's called the 400 years of waiting on the Messiah to return. Ain't no fucking 400 years of silence. Man, there was war going on. Listen to this is from Zonovan. What happened between the Old and New Testament? 4 things you need to know to read the New Testament well. You got to know the history to understand the mystery, as the apostles have been saying for ages, man, for years. Now, this is what they say. Have you ever wondered what happened between the Old and New Testament? And most people don't. Only ones that's worried about this or wondered is the hopeful elect, man. Listen, have you ever wondered what happened between the Old and New Testaments? If you ever flipped from the last page of the Old Testament to the first page of the New, you just skipped over 400 years of history with that single page turn. History, not fucking silence. What exactly happened during these 400 years? Who was in control? What people groups shaped the experience of the earliest Christians? In those 400 years, the Pharisees and Sadducees, synagogues, Roman governors, and the family of Herod emerged onto the scene. None were present in the Old Testament. Where did they come from? The Greek Empire. That's where they came from. Damn Edomites, the beginning rulership of the so-called white man. It reads, and countless events not mentioned in the New Testament had a profound impact on the world of Jesus, Yahushua, such as the Maccabean revolt, the rise of the Essenes, the dominance of the Greek language, and the rise of the Roman Empire. So what happened between the Old and New Testament? Here are 4 things you need to know to get started. 1, who were the Greeks? The original Greeks was the Japhetic people, man. The sons of Japhet. The so-called white man Alexander took over. This is in Daniel's chapter 8, man. Now, I give you the line of these 4 kingdoms in Daniel 7 and Daniel's 2. But in Daniel's 8, it tell you how the he-goat took down the ram with the 2 horns. It reads, who are the Greeks? You probably already know about the Assyrians, the Babylonians, and the Persians because they figured prominently in Old Testament. The Assyrian and the Babylonians emptied the land and carried the Israelites into exile, and the Persians allowed a remnant to return. But the Assyrians, Babylonians, and Persians weren't the only outside groups that shaped the history of the Jewish people during the intertestamental period. The history of the Jewish people was also affected by both the Romans and the Greeks before them. Here's what happened. Here's what happened, people. After the Persians were defeated by Alexander the Greeks, Salakia, after the Persians were defeated by Alexander, the Greeks invaded Palestine. With them, they brought their language and culture. This is why, I did a lesson on this about a month ago. This is why the word Greek is in the New Testament, man. This is why I say neither Jew nor Greek in the New Testament. If you don't understand this history, and this is from Zondervan's, it's a Zondervan academic. That ain't no small word. That ain't no small buzzword, man. This is Zondervan academic, man. Talking about our history. Again, after the Persians were defeated by Alexander, the Greeks invaded Palestine. With them, they brought their language and culture. They tell you in 2 Maccabees 6 that we couldn't call ourselves Jews anymore. Their agriculture, right? How they built. Right now today, if you look up Roman architecture, you look up Greek architecture and American architecture, they're all the same. Why? Because the so-called white man. Again, with them, they brought their language and culture. Remember this from Zondervan. Their architecture, names, styles of clothing, and entertainment. What's going on today? Entertainment. Their styles of clothing. The influence of the Greeks was long-lasting. The entire New Testament was written in Greek. See? It was translated, man. And when Paul wrote his letters to the Romans who spoke Latin, he still chose to write in Greek. For the Jewish people who were to be set apart The coming of Greek culture represented a moral and spiritual crisis. It's a Howard day to deal with the invading culture. They wrestled with this question up to and during the time of the event of the New Testament took place. And it remains as an important question we must wrestle with today. But the story of the Greeks doesn't end with Alexander. Alexander's empire broke into four parts. Four parts. Huh? It's two of which are important for understanding the context of the New Testament. Can't make it up. But the story of the Greeks doesn't end with Alexander. Alexander's empire broke into four parts, two of which are important for understanding the context of the New Testament. The first group, the Ptolemies, were centered in Egypt and ruled over Palestine. They treated the Jews well. Two, but eventually the Seleucids, the second group, took control, and they were brutal. They forced pagan religion on the Jews and set up an altar to Zeus in the temple courts. Many people objected to the persecution and rebelled. And this rebellion is known as the Maccabean Revolt. Through this revolt, Jews gained independence, which lasted until 63 BC, when the Romans took control. But the charged atmosphere between Jewish culture and secular Greek culture remained well into the time of the New Testament. You can't read, and the Lord left it that way because the Lord could have easily had the whole thing changed back, man. But he didn't, because what the Lord said in Matthew 13, verse 10, when Peter and them asked the Lord, why did he speak to them Israelites in parables? He said the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven is for you to understand and not them. It reads right here, who were the Romans? You can't read the New Testament without encountering Rome. Rome's rule was ever present. Every person mentioned in the New Testament felt the pressure of the empire. Rome got its start centuries before the events of the New Testament took place. And you could read that in, what is that, First Maccabees 8, man. They was there, man. They was there. They was there, man. Rome got its start centuries before the events of the New Testament took place. Rome was founded in the 8th century BC and became a republic in the 5th century BC. In the 1st century BC, Pompey conquered the eastern Mediterranean, including Palestine, and Julius Caesar conquered Gaul. Rome dominated Palestine from that point on. During a struggle for power, Julius Caesar was assassinated, and his adopted son, Octavian, took control. Octavian was known as Augustus, the same Caesar Augustus we read about in the story of Yahushua's birth, Luke 2, 1 and 2. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. And that's today, man. You got to have a birth certificate and a social security number right now. And it goes back to this. This is why Esau do census now, man. This was the first census that took place while, what's this? Quirinius was governor of Syria. The time of peace and economic stability during Augustus' reign allowed Christianity to grow and flourish. Christian missionaries could travel widely on Rome's transportation network and spread the gospel throughout the empire. A later emperor, Tiberius, ruled during the time of Yahushua's ministry, and Nero ruled during the ministry of both Paul and Peter. The Roman governors appear regularly throughout the New Testament as well. So that's all I want to read, man. Who was Herod? They got all this in here, man. This is cold. And I never knew about none of this, man. But yesterday, the spirit just hit me and said, go look this shit up, man. Because I'm like, man, how the hell these guys still calling on Jesus Christos when the name wasn't there, man? The name wasn't there. And I was going to go into that, but I got enough lessons on dealing with the name of the Lord, man. So when you go to Matthew, when you click on the word Jesus, it go to Joshua, and then that's a precept in Acts 7. It's a precept in Acts 7. I forget what verse it is. It mentions Joshua, but it's spelled Jesus. Let me go to it. Matter of fact, let me pull this blue letter up real quick here. Let's just do this. I can drop those. Now I don't need those no more. I just want to read that to show you, man. These devils know about our history, man. Talk about ain't no records. Now, how the hell you knew about Ptolemy and Seleucus, man? They names ain't in the book of Daniel's. Where it do say that he go is the first king over Grecia in Daniel's 8. It do say that. Now let me show you. As a matter of fact, let me do this, man. I'm just sounding like a part time. Let me go here in Daniel's 8. See, to show you these devils know, man. These devils know. Let me show you this in Daniel's 8. If you don't know the history, you won't know who the hell this talking about, man. Let's go to this. Bear with me here. Let me pull this up. Let's drop this here. Yep. Humility first, Proverbs 25:2. It's the glory of God to conceal a thing, but it's the honor of king to search them out. Yeah, man. Hey, man, I just out the blue, the Lord, like, man, go look this up real quick. So look at this. So this is Daniel's 8. And if you don't understand it, the Lord gave us teachers. So how can you put this together if you don't know what it's talking about? So here in Daniel's 8, right, it talks about, right here, talks about the he-goat and the ram, right? It said he came to the ram, Daniel 8:6. He came to the ram that had two horns, right? This is Medes and Persians, which I had seen standing before the river, and he ran unto him in fury of his power. So talking about this ram and this he-goat, right? Now I tell you in this chapter, let me show you this. It said, therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horns were broken. Meaning when he died, right? His power. And for it came up 4 noble ones towards the 4 winds of heaven, which is his 4 generals, right? Now it said right here, verse 9, and out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceedingly great. Now I told you in the Ark and Zonim, it said the 4 came up, but it was 2 of them that was powerful. It said one took over Egypt, right? So that was Ptolemy. Then it said right here, and out of one of them came forth a little horn which waxed exceedingly great towards the south and toward the east and towards the pleasant land, right? That's Antiochus. He conquering Jerusalem, and it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down what? Some of the hosts of the stars. That was Judah, Benjamin, Levi, to the ground and stamped upon them. Yeah, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. They're talking about Antiochus Epiphanes. And the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifices by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered, right? So the only way you can get the understanding of this, you got to know the mystery. Now look, right here it say, where is it? Right here. It say, Daniel 8:20. Look, the ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Medo and Persia, right? The goat and the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. You got to know who this talking about, man. This is talking about the Medes and Persians and the Greek Empire. So what the hell are they talking about? That it wasn't no word from God during that time. What? It was a non-prophetic period. How? It was already written. It was written in Daniel's what was going to happen between Malachi and Matthew, man. Stop the bullshit. And then when you go to Daniel's 11, that Daniel's 11 goes into that period, man. During the time of the 400 years of silence, Daniel's 11, man. But if you don't know, you don't know. So, let me go to this. Bear with me here. These damn devils, man. Something else. But that's what the Lord said in let me get this. How the hell you can say, oh, the Greeks took over and then the Seleucid dynasty raised up, and then he did this and that. How the hell you know that? If it wasn't no history, how do you know that? Daniel 12 and 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So going back to this again, let's go back to this Malachi. Bro, how the hell can you stand fervently on calling on Jesus Christos? But that wasn't his name. If it say at the end of Malachi, look at this, man. Matter of fact, let me click on this. Let me see what this do. Let me read this, see what the translation reads. This is NLT. Look, I am sending my messenger, and he will prepare the way before me. Then the Lord you are seeking will suddenly come to his temple. The messenger of the covenant, whom you look for so eagerly, is surely coming. Who the Lord? This is in Malachi, man. Who is the messenger of the covenant, man? We in Malachi, man. So how can you go from the Hebrew right here, the Old Testament, looking for the Messiah, knowing his name ain't in no fucking Greek? Greek wasn't even here then. So what we talking about? I will send my messenger who will prepare this NIV, who will prepare the way before me. Then suddenly the Lord you are seeking will come to his temple. The messenger of the covenant whom you desire will come, saith the Lord. Come on, man. Who is this? Who is this, man? Let me see something here. Esau is something else, man. These devils is something else. But they had to do that. But it was only going to affect the 2/3 because the Lord say that he's a stumbling block, man, to 2/3. Let me get this. I want to go on my phone. Bear with me for a second. Let me go to this Malachi real quick. I want to see if it's worded the same way. Okay, because, yeah, Esau trying to make sure. But this right here talking about the Messiah, man. This is Yahweh Shai. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And the Lord, whom ye seek, Yahweh Shai, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant, whom ye delight in. He shall come, saith Yahweh of hosts. This time about Yahweh Shai, man. So how we get from here talking about, let me go here. Let me find this precept, man, in Acts. Maybe Acts 7, maybe 35. see. I know it's here. Bear with me here. Looking for this. Maybe it's up some more. Hold on. Bear with me, Salakia. I want to find this. Prove this point. Trying to find this verse. It's in here. And it got the Lord name in it. But it's talking about Joshua. Where is it? Bear with me here. I thought it was up in here. Maybe I'm reading too fast. Let me slow down. Listen to so. Hold on, I'm looking for this precept. Bear with me, Salakia. Damn it. Hold on here. Seeing on that Moses trembled. This is that Moses will say unto your children Israel, prophet shall the Lord raise up unto you of your brethren. Let me him shall hear. All goes to the Father. Came out of Egypt. Man, where is this verse at, man? I'm getting upset. I can't find it. I know I'm moving too fast. I don't want to take too long. Also, trying to think of how this verse worded, man. It's been a minute since I read this. Hold on here. Bear with me. Okay. See, I'm looking all over it, man. Moving too damn fast. It's verse 45. I know I ain't crazy. See, moving too fast. Salaki for that. So here in Acts 7:45, it reads, just to make this point about the Lord, right? Dealing with Malachi 3, it said the Lord of the covenant, right? So this is Acts 7:45. It reads, let's read 44. Our fathers had the tabernacles of witness in the wilderness, as he had appointed, speaking unto Moses that he should make it according to the fashion that it had been seen, which also our fathers that came after brought in with Jesus into the possession of the Gentiles, whom God drove out before the face of our fathers unto the days of David. What is this talking about right here? It said, which also our fathers that came after brought in with Jesus into the possession of the Gentiles, who God drove out. He drove them out. Who? These Gentiles, before the face of our fathers. What is this talking about? Going into the land of Canaan, man. This is talking about going into the land of Canaan. So when was Yahushua? When was Yahushua? Because it say Jesus right here. When was Yahushua with them in the wilderness when they went into the land of Canaan? What is it talking about? The Ark of the Covenant, man. Listen. Our fathers had a tabernacle of witness in the wilderness. What's a tabernacle of witness? Let's look at this. Let's see what it say. G4633. Of that well-known movable temple of God, after the pattern of which the temple at Jerusalem was built. See? The tabernacle, man. Which was the Ark of the Covenant. Which is Yahushua, man. Let's go back. So again, it reads, verse 44, our fathers had the tabernacle of witness in the wilderness, as he had appointed, as Yahweh had appointed to Moses, speaking unto Moses that he should make it according to the fashion that he had seen, which also our fathers that came after brought in with Jesus, Yahushua, into the possession of the Gentiles, who God drove out before the face of our fathers until the days of David. What is it talking about? The Ark of the Covenant that went into the land of Canaan with Joshua. This word right here, let me show it to you. It ain't talking about Yahushua, man, but it is. It's talking about Joshua, man. Here we go. G, Jesus, right? G24:24. The same word in Matthew 1. See it? Joshua, man. Acts 7:45. Joshua, man. Right here. Yahushua. The name of our Lord, and 2-3 other Israelites, man. H3091. Yahushua, man. Shai. It's right there, man. Now let's go back to Malachi. Let's go to Matthew. The same word, man. It's the same word. Right here. Jesus. It's the same word. See it? G2424. This name, Yahweh Shai, goes back to Joshua, man. Same word. So when the hell did this name come in? Because in Malachi, let's go back to Malachi. Malachi 3:1, behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And the Lord, whom ye seek, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant, Yahweh Shai, whom ye delight in. He shall come, saith Yahweh of hosts. Come on, man. So the point I'm making is this 400 years of silence, which in my 1465 Bible is called the 400 years of waiting on Yahweh Shai to return. When did the name of the Lord change, man? If it's mentioned in the Lord right here in the Old Testament, the last testament of the Tanakh, which is the Torah and the Tanakh, was all in Hebrew. So when did the name of the Lord change then? Don't worry, I'll wait. When did that happen? Why is these niggas calling on Jesus Christos, man? Jesus. Why is they doing it? Sell out, slow belly niggas, man. That's why. Niggas is sellouts, man. Anyway, I just want to make that point. I saw these articles so they can go into the history. And then these people said, let me go back to this. They said you can't understand this without going into these histories, man. Where is it? It was the other one. Hold on, bear with me here. And show you the Edomites know, man. And it's Jake that don't want to. Oh, man. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Okay. I saw something else. So they got here. It say almost 2 millennials had passed since the New Testament Canaan was completed. And though the word is full of grace and truth, and though the birth, life, and death of Yahweh Shai fulfilled a staggering array of prophecies, the Jews as a people have yet to open their eyes and ears. But Yahweh Shai is coming again, and one day a remnant will both see and hear. That's cold. See? And these is from fucking heathens, man. This is from heathens. The Lord cold, man, because Jake, 2/3 of our people don't know shit, man. And they ain't seeking. Let me see what this other one say. So it say, the Lord cold, man, because you ain't gonna be able to get this. It say with a brief period of no, I ain't want that. Let me see. Right here. So between Malachi and Matthew, 400 years passed in the Holy Land for which we have no prophetic record. Much happened during this period that affects, this is what I want to read. Much happened during this period that affects our understanding of the New Testament. So it is important to be familiar with at least the major events that happened in this intertestamental period, man. And if you don't understand this mystery, let me get this. Hey, you got to know the history to understand the mystery, man. As the saying goes. Yeah. This is Colossians 1 and 26. Even the mystery, which have been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints, to whom God would make known what is the riches of the glory of the mystery among the Gentiles, which is Mashiach in you, the hope of glory. Now, Paul said in Galatians 1 that, let me read it, because they love to run to Paul, right? In Galatians 1 and 11. If Yahushua said in Matthew 10, verse 5 and 6, he told the disciples that don't go to the Gentiles, right? Go not to the Samaritans or the Gentiles, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Why would Paul do something opposite of what the Lord said? And if anybody that believed that Paul did something opposite of what the Lord said, then you contradicting the Lord. You making the Lord seem like a liar. Galatians 1 and 11, but I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. So this ain't by the traditions of men, neither by the rudiments of the world, like it reads in Colossians 2 and 8. But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Yahushua Mashiach. So here is Paul telling you, I didn't learn this from nobody on earth. I didn't learn it from Peter. I ain't learning from John or Andrew, none of them. The Lord taught him personally. So if the Lord told the disciples in Matthew 10, 5 and 6, don't go to the heathens, you think Paul went to heathens? You think Paul went outside of Yahushua, the word of the Messiah, the messenger of the covenant? Come on, man. That's treason. Anyway, Lord was edifying. Got to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rikah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, and elder bishop, and elders, a great millstone who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether accepted or not. And a sincere salutation, matter of fact, and a sincere salutation to all the Akim pushing this truth and believing this truth with the four winds of the earth, the entire world, shedding light to the elect. Shalom to the outworth who are listening learning. If you sister who are listening learning, throughout tuning in, may Yahweh Bashim Yahushua continue to bless you in your houses. May the blessed number bless be upon your houses. Till next time, I say Shalom, Wa, Abba, Abba. I got to get this before I go. I got to get this. So, when you go to Exodus, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Exodus 16. When you go to Exodus, I meant to get this too. Because I never forget, Apostle Hart brought this out. And I never forget this, which I shouldn't. Exodus 16, right? Let me see here. When the Lord told Moses, right? I got to figure out how to get the color in here. I got to figure this out because I don't like this. Hold on. Font color. Blue. Okay, blue. I got to fix this. Okay, so let me see. The Lord provides manna. Nope, it got to be 13 then. Let me see. Bear with me here. I want to look at this. Is it numbers? Maybe it's numbers. Maybe I'm tripping. Hold on. I thought it was Exodus. Maybe Numbers 13. Okay, yeah. Been a minute. This is like I'm tripping. So I showed you in Acts 7, right? In Acts 7 and 45, that was talking about Joshua, which is the same name that's in Matthew 1, right? And it showed you Yahushua in the Hebrew. Now, I want to show you this too, because this is what the Lord told Moses. This is what Moses did. And this is what Apostle Hot brought this out some years ago. So this Numbers 13 and 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, send thy men that they may search the land of Canaan. See, and Joshua was with them, which is go to what the Acts in Acts 7:45, because the Ark of the Covenant went into the land of Canaan with Joshua and the Israelites. See, you can't, if you some slow belly ass Christian, you ain't gonna get this, man. So anyway, it says, send thy men that they may search the land of Canaan, which I gave unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers, send ye a man, every one a ruler among them. Right? So here are the names. When you go down here to right here, it say Numbers 13 and 8. Of the tribe of Ephraim, Oshel, the son of Nun, right? So Oshel, the son of Nun, right? Now look. Matter of fact, before I do that, let's click on this. Let's click on this. Son of Nun. Let's click on Oshel. Let me show you something. Oshel right here, right? Which is Hawashai. Right? So you click on this H3467. Esau gonna go off on the damn devils. That's why you gotta know. So let's go back one. Right here. They got Hashah, which is Hoshea is, but it's right here. Hawashai, right here. So they got Hoshea, right? Oshel, family name of Joshua, right? Family name of Joshua. Right here it say deliverer, Hoshea. Then they got Oshel. So I want to show you that. So you right here. Let's go back to this. So he said 13, 8, Oshel, the son of Nun, right? So when you get down here to verse 16, this is what Apostle Howard was making the point years ago. These are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy the land. And Moses called Oshel or Hoshel, the son of Nun, Yahushai. So it was Moses that put the Yah on it, right? Moses put the Yah on it because it was Joshua that delivered Israel to the king, to the promised land. Just as Yahushua going to do in our time now, man. So right here, right, you got, see, Oshel 1954, H 1954. But right here, you got H 3091. Hold on. Bear with me. See this? This Esau term, right? See this? Now you go back one. Remember this right here. Yahushua, right? Right, you see the Yah, Yah, Wah, Yah, Ha, Wah, Shah, right? Look at that. Right? It goes back to Joshua. I don't give a damn what you do. Look. Down here. Right? Talking about damn Jewish. Right? The Jews leader, Israelites leader, right? It say, see, compare 1954, 3442, 42, Yahushua. Yahweh Shai, man. Right here. Right here. Yahweh Shai, man. Yahweh Shai. Now, remember H30 right here. H30, right? 68. Remember this. Let's go back one. I'm going to show you something. Remember here, H3091. Remember that. Look at this. Matthew 1 and 21. See, these devils are stupid, man. They stupid. Like the Lord, and like the precept the brother put up. Hey, it's the honor of king to search these things out, man. Right? So let's go back to here. G2424. Look, H3091. You see it? Do you see it? Of Hebrew origin, man. H3091. Same thing as saying numbers for Joshua, man. Come on, man. See? H3091. That's what it said in Numbers about the name of Joshua. It's the same number. It's the same numbers, man. So why the fuck Nate calling on Jesus Christ, man? Jesus Christ ain't there, but it's there. But it ain't there, man. Anyway, Shalom, wa ababa.